Welcome to Komodo Metaverse Discussions, a podcast about cryptocurrency, blockchain, and Komodo platform technologies and relationships. Greetings, I'm Giuliano. Today we are talking with Dr. Cetiner, professor of Marmara University in Turkey, and an originator of the Marmara Credit Loops, independent chain built from Komodo Tech. This is a part two, really, of the discussion ongoing about Marmara Credit Loops. Go ahead and click the like button. Thanks for commenting, and share this video to help inform everyone about the Komodo Metaverse. Hello, Dr. Cetiner. Thank you for being here. Let's get right into it again. This is the second part,
Thanks.
really. Yeah, thank you very much for being here. How are you doing right now?
Thanks very much. How about you?
Yeah,
Good.
pretty good. We've been talking for actually by now almost an hour and a half, at least, an hour 45 minutes, but that's been really enlightening and informative. I'm even more impressed and hopeful for the Marmara chain, MCL chain, and so let's go right into it and talk about the Marmara chain. In the previous discussion, we went through really two main points, which is what's the problem that MCL solves. We talked a lot about credit loops and stuff like that, and non-redemption in a peer-to-peer economy, credit creation, and all of that. And then we also talked about the Marmara version 1 and version 2 protocols in pretty much in depth. So hopefully that was understandable for everyone. And I want to go into some of these metrics of Marmara chain. So what is the coin emission, like and the staking? Well, it's a proof of work, proof of stake protocol. What is that like? Can you just describe it for us?
Yeah, we are using Komodo platform technologies. Proof of work for 25%, and 75% is based on staking. But we have changed the staking. We have embedded with the custom consensus system. It is powerful with smart contracts in Komodo, as everybody knows. For especially independent chains, you can create your own custom consensus, so that we have embedded actually our special staking system, because our actually collateralization system, especially for real world economy, has to be somehow embedded with staking, especially for buyers and sellers. Therefore, we have in 75% of staking part, we have two parts. One is 1x staking. It is activated, staking. It is very similar to other staking platforms, but it is more flexible. You can just lock your coins, MCL coins, on Marmara chain, and you will actually get 1x staking power. Of course, we are talking about 75% part.
Right. So I did want to mention that, but so then I'll do it right now and say that what you mean is that if there was 100 blocks that pass, 25 of those blocks would be proof of work blocks, and exactly. 75 of those blocks would be staking blocks.
Exactly. Yeah, okay. So you can use now, because it is almost 2 years now since we started. You can use, I think, for that part, ASIC, devices.
For mining. Okay, you can mine
for mining,
ASIC,
but yeah, but for 75% staking, because at the beginning this is our promise to business people, because there were a lot of hesitance among business people, especially Bitcoin energy, requirement makes people somehow,
it takes a lot of energy.
So,
it takes energy.
Yeah, because
to do mining, it's not easy to do mining necessarily, and so understood.
Yeah, you cannot actually explain anyone, any business person. You want to make some shopping, and during that shopping, you want to make some money, earn money.
Incentivize. Yeah, you want to
incentivize people.
Yeah.
If you tell them, okay, you have to buy this, nobody will accept. That was number one issue. That is why it is almost 2 years since 17th January last year. People can still stake with mini PCs. This is wonderful, because after that much time, people are usually, having difficulty to have rewards. So to 75% part, Trex staking sits there actually in that part with credit loops. If you have credits in your credit loops, then you will have participation as seller or buyer in Trex staking. So it is custom consensus technology.
So when it comes to they're 1 minute blocks. You get 30. I think it's 30.
30 MCL. Yeah, for every minute there is a block coming out roughly, and in every block there is a reward for 30 MCL, and it is every year. This is static. We talked about that, with the community.
So there's no halving. There's no halving. It's always 30.
There's no halving. We talk about this issue between us with JL and with business people. Yeah. So this is our why, because otherwise we felt that we will have liquidity problems. If you look at now on Explorer, there is stats page. You will see that there's now coin supply is 27 million, but for normal coins, transferable coins, if you look at that, less than 7 million. So most are locked. 75% are locked, and 40% is locked in credit loops. 33 or something percent is locked in activated loops. Activated coins can be released anytime if you wish.
Activated loop is 1x staking, right?
Sorry, I didn't mean loop. Activated coins. Activated coins, they are not in loop. You can just unlock them anytime you want. It is like other staking systems. So you will, when you wish, you can lock again in activated. But in credit loops, once you lock it, the B2 is that. Suppose you have locked credit, you cannot open it until mature date. What will you do with that? If you want to open it, you cannot open. The only way is to transfer it to buy some goods and services.
Okay. So you transfer the credit.
Yeah.
Okay.
The transfer is meaningful only, to buy stuff. Otherwise, nobody will transfer, because you have. Why you don't want to transfer? Because you are transferring your staking power to next one.
Yeah.
So nobody, will do that unless, of course, he makes some buying. That is why that part, especially endorsement, makes a real economy essential for that, even for the version 1. But of course, for protocol 2, our main aim is, as we said, as a replacement to banking system, we are creating credits, which might be in USD terms, in Turkish lira, in assets, for example, such as gold, silver, etc. So we are recording actually the credit information for the fiat and other assets. So in protocol 2, how do we make Trex staking? It is actually with the escrows. Each escrow acts as a master node, and to become a master node, to become an escrow, OBA escrow, you have to have some kind of a staking pool, investment pool. We didn't decide within community. It might be like 100,000 MCL or 200,000 MCL to become escrow. So you will have that in your pool, and for all credits, you must have all the time on the blockchain 10% of the 10% in equivalence of any currencies, of course, MCL on the blockchain. So we have MCL lock. When we have MCL locks in any loops, it might be protocol 2, protocol 1. People, anyone will participate in actually the 3x staking. Okay. Therefore, if you are endorser, for example, in protocol 2, now you are transferring the power. But in that, if you have some kind of collateralization, out of that collateralization, you can participate in a 3x staking, even in protocol 2. Yeah.
Okay. So that's interesting. And then where does the 3x of the staking come from? Like what does that mean? Do you get the 3 times more emission, or what does it mean?
No, the emission is same 30 out of 100 blocks. 25 is, as you said, coming through mining.
Yeah.
And among this, the 75%, 1x is coming from activated coins, 3x coming from loops. So we don't have extra things, or it is happening all in the normal emission system. So we have 30 every minute.
So it's been solved. So somehow it's been solved into the coding of the chain, in the protocol.
Sorry? Yeah, it is coded
it's been coded into the protocol.
Yes, exactly. It is coded, embedded with the staking system. So they can participate in according to their activated or credit loops.
Good. Okay, good. So this is good. So now we've got a lot of detail here about the Marmara and the chain. Hopefully we've gone through the main points. If there's anything else you think needs to be said about the chain or any of the details like that, tell us, please. But other than that, that means, okay, why is MCL in a good position to transition the peer-to-peer credit culture of Turkey, for example, onto the cryptocurrency blockchain technology?
The biggest problem, as I said, is the non-redemption problem. In the current system, 2.5% is the non-redemption rate, defaulting. In India, for example, it is 5%. During financial crisis, global financial crisis, in Turkey, it has been raised to 8.5% as defaulting. So in MCL here, it is actually a self-assured, guaranteed, non-redemption solution system. So we have actually, as a paper with the JL 777, Marmara blockchain as a blockchain solution to non-redemption problem in post-dated checks and promissory notes. Of course, it is universally applicable to any P2P credits.
Well, so and you mentioned, you mentioned about the OBA, that even in Turkey you're going to you're looking to create some OBAs and create real economies.
Yes.
So how does MCL, like, does MCL the credit loops in the real economy, does it bootstrap itself? Will you be able to grow this OBA and then the community around it, the economy around it, really, just based on the trust-based system of MCL? Actually,
our target, we can say, if people know about this, because there is no defaulting problem here. If people know, because we are trying to guarantee, especially even with protocol 2, there is a penalty. The penalty is people are jailed. If there is non-redemption problem, they cannot
in the
pay.
Real economy in Turkey right now.
Yes, in the real economy. For example, if people cannot pay for their issued checks, they go to court, and there are really tens of thousands of people now in the jail. So it is really hard. Why? In many cases, actually, it is because the first one does not recognize the last one. it is a kind of trust chain. A credit loop is a trust chain in
a trust
analog
chain.
terms.
Yeah, a trust
Trust
analog
chain.
trust chain.
It's
Okay,
a trust
with
chain.
the post-dated checks. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, post-dated checks are a trust chain. The first person, nobody accepts check from somebody who doesn't know. For example, if I don't know you, because I will sell you, for example, a PC.
Yeah, if we don't know you,
you.
you don't trust your credit. But if you have the right endorsement,
exactly.
Okay.
The
But
problem,
MCL solves this. MCL solves this with
yes,
with the non-redemption problem solution.
Exactly. This is the especially we make it. It is kind of nobody could achieve this one, because in banking system, it is very difficult, especially with the regulations, laws, because first of all, they don't recognize the cryptocurrencies. Nowadays they are all battling with the cryptocurrencies. Nobody. We actually we have in our workshops in Marmara University, we had some people from the banking sector, and this is our end result. Thought that banks can never participate in that one, because they are not free actually. All banks are actually affected by the regulations in Basel. There is a central bank of the central banks. They cannot do that.
BIS.
Yeah, in Basel, there's BIS, Bank of International Settlements. And I made discussion. There were some friends. They said they want to discuss with you with one bank. Actually, founders of the bank. We sit together, and they said, "Okay, please don't tell this one to anyone." But as banking sector, none of banks can participate in this one, because we are not free. We do whatever they actually order us. That is why OBA movement is very important. So we want to replace the banks, and they should be actually decentralized bodies, and this is the right way anyway. Banks also do not want to participate in this. Why? Because it is like putting the chair under your feet. Why? Because they earn a lot of interest from the credits they create. And you have a system where there is no cost, there is no interest. So
I see.
it is interest-free system.
So you think that the MCL credit loops actually can, because it's similar to the story you mentioned about Ireland, and I'm sure that's similar to many other just peer-to-peer economies where credit is really actually a very powerful tool economically. And so you've created this system with Marmara Credit Loops that people can set themselves up to do real economic DeFi. Is that the idea?
Yes. There was one statement from, I think it was in Forbes or somewhere, Wall Street Journal, I don't remember. Somebody from banking sector said that, especially, they were attacking Bitcoin, saying that Bitcoin cannot be a world currency. Why? Because they cannot touch the credit, because banks, most of the money is created as credits. So it is some kind of coining. So we don't bother about it. So we are not afraid of the Bitcoin to replace the banks. So the title is Bitcoin cannot replace the banks. This was the title. But of course, in some sense, they might say that, but because of the open source things, and thanks to Komodo platform technologies, where communities can have custom consensus rules, there are smart contracts. So with the credit creation, if you mix the trust-based systems like OBA, communities, decentralized communities, you don't need banks at all. So you can even solve credit creation and circulation problem. This
Amazing.
is our, this is where we stand here actually with Marmara.
Okay, beautiful.
So this is a complete solution to banking. And after this, if this is becoming, known by many people, there will be, I believe, this will be a good replacement. Why? Because there is no interest. It is already happening anyway, but on the papers. On the papers, 300 billion people do not actually pay any interest to bank. They just create any money on the papers. But the problem, they have, some defaulting to 2.5%.
problem. Yeah, back to the stuff that Marmara.
If you solve this problem, this finished. You solve the problem. So
yeah.
Therefore,
So
open moment is
So
if you solve the problem.
Okay, good. So thank you for that, because you were actually looking to solve this problem for some time, and it has evolved into the Marmara Credit Loops blockchain. So thank you, and for everybody else that's working on it, maybe that's the last thing you can say. But before that, because there's also a special relationship with Atomic DEX. So how does Atomic DEX fit into the MCL capabilities as a DeFi for real economy?
Yeah, thanks to actually. Of course, let me say frankly, we want to. I think we need to talk about Tokel. It was a successful event.
Tokel.
Tokel was successful event with initial DEX offering. IDO. Actually, because we just wanted to solve the business problems. We are working on this project for 5 years, I can say, even 10 years, because the philosophically we investigate the alternative. Exactly. It is 10 years to replace the banks.
Well, you mentioned you tried to use Ethereum as well before Komodo, right?
Yeah. So we decided finally Komodo to solve the problem, and we are very happy about that. Of course, we have a lot of discussions with James, JL777. One of the discussions was to actually removal of the banks in the system, because the post-data checks, especially not promissory notes, but post-data checks start the journey, from the issuance to settlement from the banks. Although they are, issued with the banks, not banks check books or whatever you call it. They are actually money creation by the individual companies. Of course, not anyone can do that, because banks, look at many sort of stuff. You should be a good company with a good eligible records or something. So not anyone can create that one. But with promissory note, anyone can create that. And I know from my young ages, I did lot of my buyings with promissory notes. The problem, promissory notes do not circulate like other post-data checks. Post-data checks circulate many times, like 12 times, 15 times. But promissory notes are between usually the buyer and seller. They can circulate anyway, like Irish cases. This is actually when we replace any more trustful person than institution than a person, because the person is now in charge to pay the debt. It is issued in the system, and if it is blacklisted, if the person is blacklisted, he's jailed, for example. The person is jailed, for example, that does not solve the problem, because suppose I created a credit and I bought some PC from you. Now, okay, I am in jail, but that jailment actually does not solve your problem, because nobody has paid, for example.
Understood.
Therefore, non-redemption problem is in very deep. If we solve this problem in real economy, and most of the cases, this is not, by the way, scams. This is based on trust, because you should nobody actually gives or accepts a check from somebody who doesn't know. Why? Because of the economical situation, people, because they rely on each other. I know many business people. One, for example, went bankrupt. Why? Because he is a trustful person, but because he has a lot of checks from somebody else, they did not pay. Why? Because there is economic crisis, especially pandemic term. Debt rate has increased, so he cannot pay. But what happens? He is jailed. But in this system, I am talking with them, and now they are actually those businessmen. Of course, they had difficulty. Now they can, for example, make staking. Of course, we are working with the tools to make life easier.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier about the staking, about how, okay, not everybody can do mining, but maybe staking is something more reasonable that everybody can do. Is that correct?
Yes. So we have a connector, for example. It was on Linux. We have been struggling, for example, because not many people, most of the people have Windows. We had difficulty. Oh, now to make credit loops, we need to learn Linux. Now many business people who have also learned how to set up Linux, and they are making, but many people were not in. So now we are testing. We have made the test release last week. The connector Windows version has come out. So now they are happier.
Right.
So Windows users, many of the business people are using Windows, unfortunately. So they will participate more. But of course, we are trying to construct now OBA movement, because Protocol 2 is very important for us.
So just tell me again now, just come back around to Atomic DEX. If you wanted to say anything about Atomic DEX, you mentioned about Toco.
Atomic DEX.
But how does, and like how, and about Marmara. So go on,
Atomic DEX, actually, my opinion, of course, if you knew well, at this moment, perhaps having an idea at that time, at the initial time, when we started, would be especially for financing the OBA movement, there would be some more because we said, okay, let us make it organic, and we did not actually care about the monetary issue, financial issue. But Atomic DEX is wonderful nowadays with the Tockle. They have made a good, I think, thing. So I can say that with MCL we are working very well. MCL is from the first month, I can say. I think we have very good relations. Atomic DEX team has put MCL on Atomic DEX, and it is going very well. People, of course, buy there. They can exchange easily with Komodo, especially Komodo MCL pair is good. It is the fastest one, and it is wonderful. Yeah, Atomic DEX is decentralized. I go to a place, for example, when I want to talk with a business person, he says, "Oh, okay, how do we buy this stuff?" For example, of course, there's one thing we want to make it possible. Komodo should be somewhere in Turkey, because people want to buy with lira. Especially, I tell the people, I don't care about MCL, because we are trying to go with the OBA movement at the moment, but make Komodo buyable with Turkish liras. Now people make it in very indirect way. They have to take it from somewhere, send it as BTC, for example, send it to another central exchange, buy Komodo, and then send it to Atomic DEX, and then they can buy MCL. Of course, I tell them you can buy directly buy MCL or use MCL by buying the stuff, real items from the Discord channels. There's shopping channels and other channels. But Atomic DEX is wonderful. It is the business people, when we talk, okay, just download it, and then I send him some MCL and Komodo. Then I tell him, okay, now you make an exchange between Komodo and MCL. He says, oh, it is very easy. And,
okay.
Of course, that is a perfect thing for us. And I urge all communities to use Atomic DEX, of course.
Right. And I think I'm asking too, because I imagine that not everybody's only going to have the MCL, but it's an easy way to get MCL is through Atomic DEX, and MCL can then provide pairs against many other different cryptocurrencies through atomic DEX, and those people can either funnel into the MCL credit loops or out of them back into other currencies or whatever. So all right, well, you know, Dr. Cetiner, we've gone through so much stuff and I feel like there's still more, but at the end of it, I think that's where we are for now.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you needed to say before we end off today's discussion?
Thanks very much. For the OBA movement, we talked about that. Perhaps another time, if we have some, you know,
yes, we will.
News on
and
that,
did you want to?
I will share
did you
with
want
you.
to shout out anybody else? Anybody who's, you know, you mentioned a few other people that are working on it. So if you have anybody else that you want to say,
we have at the moment we are keeping that one as local OBA movement. It is in Turkish. There are now more than 1,300 people.
Wow.
We have just started, so we urge people to create their own ecological villages or whatever stuff to make it connect to some production with organic food and you know, self-sustainable houses, zero energy houses.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, some eco villages, cooperatives
so
maybe.
How can we find out more about this? Where can we go? You mentioned there was a Discord.
Probably either we will make it as international platform when we discuss with the people, because most cannot speak English.
I see.
We can perhaps make another you know, in Discord group in English.
I see.
But
okay, good.
Let us move forward and have some success stories.
Yeah,
so we
that'll
want
be
to
in the future.
have,
okay, good.
Yeah. So there are
okay, no problem.
more than
good.
10
and
now.
So now, for now, where can we go? We can go to what's the website that we can visit?
Yeah.
For Marmara.
Marmara chain, marmara.io is the site, the main site, and then from there they can just
Discord.
put /Discord, so they will jump into Discord group.
Perfect. So if you want to know more, you go and check out those links. They'll be also in the description. Yes. And thank you very much, Dr. Cetiner, for your time. And
thank you very much.
We look forward to. Good. We look forward to having you around. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Until next time. This is the Komodo Metaverse Discussions with Dr. Cetiner of the Marmara chain. Goodbye.